Looking at issues arising from the February 4th, 2012 governorship elections in Adamawa State. Joining us this time to look at the issue is the ACN governorship candidate, Markus Gundiri, is joining us all the way from Abuja. Good morning. Well, let's look at matters arising. A whole lot of issues, you know, the decision of the Adamawa Election Petition Tribunal dismissing the petition of your party, as well as the grievances we see from your political party, the ACN, and one other sore point which your party raises, INEC allocating votes to 5 political parties on 4th of February election in your state. Perhaps you should expatiate more on that.
The first and foremost thing I want to say here is the tribunal was a lopsided type of tribunal. It would have been a miracle for that tribunal to have actually ruled in our favor, because this was a tribunal that was that comprised of 3 judges, and all of them from PDP states. It would have been a miracle for any one of them to actually have ruled against their masters who pay their salaries, who take care of them, who do everything for them in favor of the ACN. And therefore, it wasn't surprising when that ruling came that our case was not substantiated. But one thing I want to say here is that the ACN in Adamawa State is the party to actually beat in that state. Because if we go into the history of that state, you find out that most of the people desire to have dividends of democracy. And at present, we have a government in Adamawa State that does not provide or even listen to providing or trying to attempt to provide the dividends of democracy in that state. And today you have a situation where only a few people, number not more than 10, that control all the resources of Adamawa State. And these are all family affairs. If you can have a governor of a state who decided to use his son, who was a serving officer in the Nigerian Navy, to become his de facto chief of staff, to implementing almost everything in the state, then you have a problem. It's no longer democracy. It is more of a posting as a military assignment on the part of the governor himself and then on the son. And then when we look at this, we have to also look back at how the present government came to be. In the process of eternal democracy in the PDP in Adamawa State, the present governor emerged in quotations because he was actually forced on the people. And when he was forced, his election was also forced on the people. And Adamawa State, if you look at it, it's a state that desires to have democracy that should be well established, to be able to bring people that the leaders that the people like to have. And if you look at the results of the elections of February 4th, you know, yes, I felt highly disappointed about the result because I had the trust in INEC that INEC was actually going to do a free and fair election. And every one of us were depending on the pronouncement of the commission that there was going to be free and fair election. Unfortunately, what we got at the end of the day was an election that was marred by so many manipulations. And to be frank with you, at a certain stage, instead of announcing the results as they were coming in, that is unit by unit or word by word, they just lumped everything and announced. That was very suspicious on the part of the electorates. And so many people desired to actually go on rampage. They wanted to burn down where they were announcing the results. We had to intervene and say, no, we are not here to kill people. How could I allow people to kill themselves while I'm going to be a governor of that state? Who am I going to rule if you try to mess up like that? And in the end of it, we had the opportunity of going to the tribunal. And when this tribunal was set up, we were actually disappointed because all the three judges came from PDP states. But you know, that is where we are today, and we'll go on from here.
Well, Mr. Gundiri, from what we gathered at the tribunal, we were told, of course, you were told there that you didn't have your facts straight and right, even though on that particular day the PDP came up with 302,953 as against your own party. You polled 241,023, but you say these are all figures that were manipulated to arrive at a total that you don't understand because they were not brought unit by unit.
No, I'm sure we were able to present our case very, very well. And the court of the people will judge, because we are going to publish the judgment of that tribunal in newspapers in Nigeria for everyone to see what has happened. Because you can see that the judgment was not based on facts, was, to my mind, a manufacture of what probably the people that pay them dictated to them to write. Otherwise, I do not know how a very well articulated case like the Adamawa petition that went into the tribunal's court could come up and say that we did not substantiate. There was nothing that was not properly substantiated in the case in the tribunal. And we are going to go further to see what happens in the upper courts, because I believe in the upper courts there would be some reasoning, and there will be some people who will look at all the documents that we have given to the tribunal to examine again and then come up with something more acceptable to the people of Adamawa State. Today, Adamawa State, needs a change that will give them peace. We have turmoil in that state today, and that state seems to be the most neglected of all the states in the Federation. I was looking at a report written by the Minister of Education recently about the way that education has collapsed in Adamawa State. Today you have almost 25% reduction in the intake of primary school. And that is something that is worrisome. If you look at the type of young men and women we now have in the streets of Adamawa State, you will be frightened, because these are people that have no jobs. They are people that are not educated. In the end of it, they become criminals. And if you do not take care of this, then you have a wasted generation in a state that is supposed to be one of the best states in the northern parts of this country. And if we don't take time, that type of thing can influence even the neighboring states. And we just have to stand for justice. If you don't provide justice, there is going to be a breakdown of law and order anywhere in any country of the world. Where you don't have justice, there's definitely going to be turmoil.